are talking about the movie Ravers. This one is directed by Bernhard Pucher and best described this one as the Crazies meets Creamfield. Now this one stars Georgia Hirst, who you probably recognise if you watch the TV show Vikings. She plays Torvi, and it also has a very small appearance from Natasha Henstridge as well. So the story here, it focuses on Georgia Hirst's character Becky, who works as a reporter but is a very kind of big germaphobe, and in today's society, with the coronavirus, is very apt. She's always constantly washing her hands, very worried about sanitation, things like this. Now this movie was made in 2018, so, you know, it's actually quite apt now for 2020. Anyway, she ends up going to this kind of rave, which is held in this warehouse that used to produce energy drinks along the lines of kind of Red Bull. And there's a batch there which has been left. However, there was something wrong with this batch. And when the kind of ravers discover it and start drinking it, it turns them into crazed maniacs with bulging eyes and pretty horrible looking, I have to say. And the interesting thing here is, depending on what kind of drugs they've taken, it really affects them in different ways. And most of these people have taken drugs because that's what you do in a rave, apparently. But, you know, ones that are kind of have taken, for example, marijuana are very just chilled out and relaxed and almost melted. But ones that have taken, you know, more aggressive drugs, should we say, are very kind of aggressive and things like this. And there's a handful of people who maybe haven't taken drugs, and this kind of plays a little bit like a zombie movie. I think they actually do reference, but the interesting thing here is that it's very... It kind of makes a point of being different, because you can have a certain amount of control. You can ask these kind of people to do stuff, and if they get what they want, they will pretty much do it for the most part. But you upset them and they'll become super aggressive. Anyway, so what do we think of this movie? I have to say, I thought this movie was a lot of fun, because it kind of plays like a zombie movie. But there's just enough difference here to give it a kind of a somewhat of a fresh and original feel. I really enjoyed the special effects. Now, what they've done here is they've used a kind of like a different look to what you've seen in a lot of films. The eyes are kind of all bulging and weird. They're kind of constantly kind of going backwards and forwards. Obviously to, you know, OTT, what maybe a person on drugs would look like, but it makes them look particularly kind of creepy and weird as well. And it gives these antagonists somewhat of an air of unpredictability, because you don't always know how they're going to kind of react, and sometimes they'll surprise you. And, you know, it gives it just a slightly different kind of feel. And these special effects and the kind of this in hand make it for a very unsettling film at times, and kind of like quite gross. And the movie does go and have some pretty good gore splatter moments as well. I actually say I thought everyone did a pretty good job acting wise. You know, I think everyone here is quite likeable. I actually quite like the fact our main protagonists are this woman Becky and her cousin, this guy. You know, they're just like, it's a different pairing. It's not so much... there is a romantic element involved here with another character, but I don't know, it's a slightly different pairing to what you've seen. The movie's quite kind of fast-paced, and I think nowadays it's properly apt as well, because obviously with what's going on in the coronavirus and kind of how, you know, how this person, our main character Becky, is this real, you know, big on the social distancing, shall we say. It plays into some of the fears of today, obviously. And obviously we enjoy energy drinks, and there's a lot of kind of drug use that's going around, and so it's very apt for today's society, I feel. Anything that doesn't work for me, I'm going to say maybe some of the characters are a little bit kind of caricatures rather than characters. We have this kind of drug dealer who's quite fun, but it may be some people may take offence, you know, if you're that way inclined, that the only black character is the drug dealer and things like that. So, you know, I'm sure that was kind of unintentional, but there you go. I think the ending is a little bit silly, I have to say. We have a climax here where the Becky character has to do something to try and resolve a problem. And I'm thinking, this doesn't make really a lot of sense. I didn't feel that she needed to do what she did to solve the problem, to be quite honest with you. There's just a roll cage full of wood, it could have been dealt with a lot of easier. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple of like logic issues as well here. Again, things that don't, you know, if you really want to pick holes in it, that doesn't make sense. For example, there's a skip full of like sort of gooey waste, toxic waste, shall we say, and you simply wouldn't put that in a skip. You know, things like this. There's like just silly little things here that are just meant to be for the story and not, you know, just kind of wouldn't be in real life and things like that. But you can maybe argue that it's just movies and kind of we shouldn't be so serious. And as a whole, I've got to say, I thought that this movie was a lot of fun. I really quite enjoyed it. Yeah, some of the characters are a little bit, you know, silly, I have to say, some of the times. And yeah, it's just the ending. I don't know, didn't kind of gel too well to me. But for the most part, this is a hell of a fun ride and a little bit of a different slice on these kind of zombie genre, which we've seen many times now. And yeah, I probably recommend this one. 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.